Every Wednesday afternoon, 19-year-old college student Emily Carter found a quiet escape from her busy classes. She worked part-time at a small public library in Ohio, a job that was predictable, peaceful, and wonderfully calm. Her main task was sorting returned books, a simple routine she enjoyed. One evening, though, something broke that routine. While processing a stack of returns, she noticed a particular paperback novel. It was nothing special, just a simple story, but it had been returned 3 times in a single week. The cover was worn, its corners soft and bent, and the pages had a gentle curve, as if someone had been reading it in a hurry, completely absorbed. Emily's curiosity was piqued. Was there something wrong with it? She opened the book, intending to check for any damage, a torn page, a coffee stain, maybe a broken spine. Her heart gave a little flutter of intrigue. She carefully unfolded the note. It read, "To whoever reads this next, I checked this book out when I felt invisible. It reminded me that things can change. If you're struggling, please keep going." Emily sat perfectly still for a moment, the small note held gently between her fingers. The anonymous message was so honest, so vulnerable. It was a tiny beacon of light left in a random book. She imagined the person who wrote it, sitting alone, finding comfort not just in the story, but in the idea of connecting with a future stranger. After a moment, she folded the note just as she had found it, tucked it back between the pages, and carefully placed the book back on the to-be-shelved cart. She felt like she was handling something precious, a secret that didn't belong to her but that she was now a guardian of. Just a few days later, her Wednesday shift rolled around again, and as she sorted through the return bin, there it was, the same worn paperback. A little smile touched her lips as she picked it up. She couldn't resist checking it. She opened it to the page where she'd left the first note, and her breath caught. Tucked right beside the original was a second, different piece of paper. The handwriting was new, a bit more confident. This note said, "I didn't think a stranger's words could help this much. Thank you to the person before me. I needed this today." Emily's heart felt like it swelled in her chest. It was working. This little chain of hope was continuing. It was a silent, secret conversation happening between people who would likely never meet, all centered around this one unassuming book. She placed the book back on the shelf, feeling a new sense of purpose in her quiet library job. This was more than just sorting books. It was participating in something truly special. Weeks turned into a month, and the pattern became a cherished part of Emily's routine. The book would disappear from the shelf, only to reappear in the return bin a few days later. And each time it came back, a new note was nestled inside, joining the growing collection. They were all short, simple messages of hope, gratitude, and quiet honesty. "This book found me at the right time. You're not alone. Thank you for the kindness." There were never any names, never any dates. Just pure, unvarnished feelings shared between strangers. The book was becoming a living thing, a vessel carrying whispers of encouragement from one reader to the next. One afternoon, as Emily was stamping books at the front desk, a teenage girl approached the counter to return a small stack. On top was the special paperback. The girl was hesitant, her eyes flicking from Emily to the book. She pushed it across the counter, but her hand lingered on the cover. Then, in a voice barely above a whisper, she asked, Do you ever read the notes inside?" Her expression was a mix of nervousness and hope, as if she was afraid of breaking a sacred rule. Emily looked at the girl and gave her a warm, genuine smile. She understood perfectly. "I think they're meant for the next person," she replied softly, keeping their secret safe. A wave of visible relief washed over the girl's face. She nodded, gave a small, shy smile in return, and then turned and left the library. In that moment, Emily knew this wasn't just about a book anymore. It was about creating a safe space for people to feel seen, to feel connected, even in their loneliest moments. The library wasn't just a building full of stories. It was a place where people were becoming part of one. The story could have ended there. A quiet, wonderful secret kept within the library's walls. But a little while later, one of the full-time librarians, who had also noticed the book's unusual journey, decided to share it. She took a photo of the book, fanned open to show the colorful assortment of notes tucked inside, and posted it on the library's social media page. The caption was simple. "A library book has become a place where strangers leave hope for each other." The post went viral. It was shared thousands, then tens of thousands of times. People were captivated by this simple act of kindness. The story spread across the country, inspiring a beautiful movement. Libraries in other towns and cities began encouraging their own readers to leave kind, anonymous notes inside books for the next person. The idea of a traveling book of hope captured the public's imagination. It was a reminder that in a world that can often feel disconnected, a small gesture can create a powerful ripple of positivity. But amidst all the national attention, the original book, the one that started it all, stayed right where it belonged, on the shelf of that small public library in Ohio. It was never put in a display case or treated like a museum artifact. It remained in circulation, ready for the next person who needed it. And every Wednesday, when Emily Carter saw that familiar worn cover in the return bin, she would smile. She'd check for the newest note, her heart warming with each new message she found. She knew that somewhere out there, someone was feeling a little less alone, a little more understood, or because a complete stranger cared enough to leave a few honest, hopeful words behind for them to find. It's a beautiful reminder, isn't it? Sometimes the quietest, most unassuming messages are the ones that travel the farthest, echoing in the hearts of people you'll never even meet. They prove that kindness doesn't need to be loud to be heard. Thank you so much for watching. If this story touched you, consider sharing it, to spread the message. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories that warm the heart. See you next time.